Bellisco.
Bill Carbach,
Here.
Ted Meyer,
Yes.
John Schultz.
I'm here. Okay, minutes of the August 4th meeting were emailed. Do we have any corrections or additions?
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion's carried. Thank you. First item, we have, you got a matter of record here, or what?
Legal notice.
Legal notice for the sale of some fire trucks. So we need to make that a matter of record that we have the legal notice published.
So moved.
Second. Motion's carried, thank you. So now we'll open up the fire truck bids that we got. We got 2 of each, is that right?
Actually, there's 3
Three?
for the tanker and 2 for the...
Yeah, we'll let Mr. Baker. We're going to do the tanker here, okay? How's that?
That's fine. Okay, so it was advertised for taking bids on the tanker. First bid, let's see, you cut through it, John.
Oh, I did? Cut it.
The first one is submitted by Greg Bright. It's a bid of $2,032.
Who? Greg Bright.
Greg Bright.
Sorry, I cut through that when I opened it. That's on the tanker, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
tanker one, yeah, 122. Okay, the second bid opened is submitted by Nevin Cook for $600.
Who?
Nevin Cook, he's like 12 or 13 years
Yeah,
old.
that's what I thought.
How much is he? $600?
600.
And that's the tanker.
That's
That's on the tanker.
Yeah, these are all tankers.
This is again a tanker bid submitted by Jim Hitchcock, the tanker, $500.
So we have $2,000, did I remember that right?
This, first one submitted by...
2032.
That's not it. I'll double check.
Greg Bright, $2,032.
We got to jump on that one quickly.
I didn't see a decimal point.
On
$2,032.
tanker, one, good what?
Good until 8:30.
15, so April 30th, or August 30th.
August 30th.
Right.
Calling, hurry.
Greg's got the connection for the truck. All right, well, that's fine. So that's all the bids we have on the tanker, all right? I
Okay.
assume this is on the Yukon. It doesn't say on the outside of the envelope, but we'll open it.
Okay. You made a matter of record, advertising for bids?
Yeah, that was all in one advertisement.
No, I mean, you've already made that a matter of record. Okay. First bid on the Yukon SUV is submitted by Markle Fire Department. The bid amount is $3,500. $3,500. Is this the last of the bids?
Yep, that's it.
Second bid on the Yukon. This bid is submitted by Jay Cook, and it's for $5,757.57.
57,
57.
By Jay Cook.
Yeah. By Jay Cook.
Nevin is Jay's son, by the way.
Okay.
Okay, I think we can go ahead and make a decision right now.
Absolutely.
Why we want to wait.
You don't have to take them under advisement.
I don't
You're
think
selling them out, it was advertised that they're being sold as is, so.
I would make a motion, if okay, to sell the tanker to the highest bid of $2,032, Greg Bright, and the Yukon to Jay Cook for $5,757.57.
I'll second that.
Motion and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried.
Good.
We got some good numbers there, I think.
Jay works around that Yukon, right? I mean, somewhat. I mean, he knows the vehicle. Good.
Did I tell you what he wanted to do?
Huh.
His bid, he wanted to bid $100 over the highest bid.
Well, yeah.
Mr. Baker said we couldn't do that. Well, I was going to bid on that. This afternoon, we only had one bid in at that time, and I said, I'll throw something in there. Now that wouldn't look very good.
No.
We were bidding on something, so.
No,
And I wouldn't have went to 5,000.
You could put your grandson in there.
Well, I could have, yeah,
Yeah, Jay put Nevin in, so
yeah.
I could put John Rubel.
Yeah. He's already got a car. He's only 14. Okay. I really, the next things I'd like to have the other council members here, so I'd rather just not bring up any more issues.
But you want to, do you need any more Tim to send Gamble? Maybe let Kenny know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because
In fact, it's in his
he was
district,
involved
really.
in it, right?
Yeah, Gamble's, Earl Gamble's that used to live there on Dayton Street right next to the old casting site. They always had some
Oh, my word.
repairs and stuff always
Right
going
next,
on.
the first house.
So now they've moved down, what is that, 11th Street or 10th Street? They moved down to the north, and they got an auto repair business there.
Is that the one that's beside Leah Thomas?
Yeah.
That we've
Yep.
had all the complaints about?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It's to the point where we're going to send them a letter today.
Well, I think
They're not doing a damn thing about it.
Leah, I know, would really appreciate it. She says he's a nice guy, but she says it's just ridiculous. She's always on me about it.
So which address is this that I should send it
The
to?
9, well...
It's 833 and 839.
is the business.
I'm sorry, what?
833 is the business and 839 is his residence.
Okay.
Does he admit that it is a business now?
Yeah.
Because wasn't there for a while he was saying it's not a business?
He told me he would come up in June and go in front of the Board of Zoning Appeals and get it changed. That was June. I said something to him and he said, I'll be up there definitely in July. Well,
We're in
I
August.
told John, I'm just tired of, every time I stop by, he promises and promises, and he's promised and promised to Roger also. Well,
So what does the letters, what does it tell him?
Telling that he's in violation of the city ordinance and that he needs to come before the Board of Zoning Appeals and request special use exception to operate a business
So are we telling me he has to
residentially zoned
cease all
property.
operations as of the date of that letter? Receipt of that letter?
I'll tell him.
I guess that's up to you guys. What I would suggest is you say that if he does not file the appropriate paperwork to get it, that we will seek conjunctive relief to prevent him from operating until such time as it's properly, he goes through the proper
I
process.
think that sounds good.
If he doesn't do anything by then, I'll file an action in court to seek an injunction.
He'll respond to that. But I think that's what we need to do to get his attention again, really. Otherwise, he's just going to sit there, yeah, I'll come up. He's never going to come up. And it's not fair to the neighbors. It's
No.
not at all. Do you want this amount, the second one?
I got it.
You got it?
It was easy to remember.
57? 57?
57, 57,
Do you want
57.
the other?
No, I don't need
You
that.
don't need it. You just need the
I'm just
the
doing the
one we
highway,
accepted.
right. That's all I'm doing. I said there was 2 bids and 3 bids, so that's fine.
I don't know.
Okay, so, on to send letter to Mark Gamble.
It's Gamble, Gambill.
Yeah. And Tim, if you can get that to John or me, and I will make sure it gets delivered.
Okay.
Because I think it needs to be delivered with a signature stating.
Okay, so okay, let me ask you this, he's not operating out of his home,
No,
but he's operating a business in a residentially zoned...
exactly.
Okay.
Which is directly south of this house.
Okay. Is it... do
He's
we
kind
know-
of using his house as a storage facility for the business. Right,
Yeah.
Bill?
Right,
And there's all kinds of
right.
junk stuff parked everywhere,
Well,
parts and everything else.
To him, it's not junk, it's automotive parts and pieces.
That's fine, but he needs to store it out of sight then.
Right. I think that's what will happen when he goes in front of BZA. They'll give him hours, restricted hours, and storage comments.
Requirements.
Yeah, right,
There's going to be some restrictions on that.
right. And I think that's what we want.
Well, that's, again, any type of restrictions probably should be suggested either through Roger or by anybody that has comments regarding the operation.
Yeah.
So,
Whenever you're ready, guys. What the work from it?
I've never seen that.
Tough day yesterday, huh, Tim?
yeah.
We'll talk
it,
about that.
it was really disappointing, but going in, I look at it like, okay, then let's roll up our sleeves, we're going to do it ourselves. You know, we'll we'll
Good
seek the
job.
grants individually,
Mm-hmm.
and once we get them, then we're going to tackle the projects. Where it's nice.
Melissa, that's one of her strong points, right? Doing grants.
I hope,
She said that one was
yeah. So,
actually harder, right?
right. So, I think that, yeah, it's disappointing, but it's like everything in life. It's how you respond that matters. And, if people get knocked down, you get back up and you keep moving. And that's what we're going to do.
We'll talk about that here in a minute. Melissa's going to come a little bit. We're going to talk about Connected Careers, so she'll be here. She had to go to Indianapolis for some grant training, by the way. So,
Okay.
2 days in a row.
for 2016, do we want to get quotes for the property and casualty insurance? We did it last year at this time for 2015. Do we want to get quotes for 2016? Well, last year we were kind of blocked out by Gravers, basically, that they had the only quote for the workman's comp, and so nobody else could quote it because nobody else could get the workman's comp. So I don't know if that was really a fair way of doing it, to be honest with you. I don't know, but
So we didn't really...
Star Insurance had the best price on the property and casualty, but they couldn't get a price on the workman's comp.
Was that their fault, or...
Well, I don't think IPEP handled that well. They basically said that they're only going to quote to Gravers, to Downey Insurance, who is
And I
it's complicated, yeah. So what I would recommend is that if we do take quotes for 2016, that we do property and casualty separate from the workman's comp. The workman's comp would be a separate quote. That way Downey Insurance can quote it or not quote it. And
Do you get a better price if you do the two together?
I don't think so, no. No, you don't.
Can you award them separate?
Yeah.
That'd be the way to do it.
I was contacted by Scott Smith, who was with Star Insurance, over here, the old Leland Smith. That's who brought it to my attention, that it can be done, but, if you'd like, I can have him come to the next Board of Works meeting, and we can hear what he has to say about it. And we can invite Graber, too.
Well, I don't think we need to re-quote every single
every
year on
year,
some
right.
of these,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
if it wasn't really quoted last time, and then the discussion was...
Star Insurance had a better price.
I remember that.
Had a better price on, like, the buildings and all the other insurance that we have. But we couldn't use them because we couldn't get
And others bid it too, just were higher.
I think we had one other bid, which was First Merchants. Yeah. And I kept those quotations, so. I tell you, I'm just gonna have Scott Smith come at the next meeting and invite Graber both, and then they can discuss what we need to do. And I'll tell them ahead of time what we're thinking, so they're both prepared.
Is that going to require a lot of work on our part to get the...
It shouldn't, because we gave them all that information last year. They should be able to do it
Just
pretty
update
easily.
for this past year.
Yeah, to update. Yeah.
I mean, the thought of bringing him in here, I guess I'm just saying, if you're going to have a quote, I could tell him
Quote,
Just quote it.
are there others that...
I don't know if I'm
quoted?
explaining why Graber's was the only one that could get the IPEP quote versus, Star not being able to get that.
And we advertised getting quotes for both at the same time.
All of it, yeah.
So what you're talking about is advertising separate.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably because they'll start as not having an appointment or a contract with Downey.
Could be.
So-
Yeah.
Mhm.
And if it's just, and if you're putting out the property and casualty separate, you may get some other people
Yeah,
come in. I mean,
Yeah.
Kent's might fit it then, right?
yeah, it could.
I mean, there's others.
Dixler might, yeah. I'll tell you what, I'll get an email to all of you that explains it better than what I have.
That makes
Scott
sense.
Smith
Yeah, I
explained
think I
it.
understand
Makes
it.
sense, yeah. All right, we'll do that. Thank you.
Is this going to be quotes or bids or
I think it's bids.
Sealed bids.
I think it's bids.
So it's
But,
advertised?
What's that?
You'd have to legally advertise it, and then you...
I'm with you, I think the Star needs to have an opportunity, but I don't know that you can exclude anybody else.
Right, oh, yeah, exactly, yeah. If we want to open it up, we got to open it up to everybody. Yeah.
It's pretty convenient that only one company has a contract. We're from workers' comp, we're limited to,
it was something through the state on IPEP. You get a better. I
Hard
have
to
go back.
explain.
It's hard to explain. I'll
And
have
the
to-
agent-
I have something in the
provider.
email that explains.
Then if
what
you have
And
a
the
point, they can
agent for
drop it.
IPEP is Downing Insurance. And
Right.
So
And then-
Downing Insurance is the one that really quotes the other people.
Right.
But it gets complicated. That's not the way I'm used to doing it.
I'll try to find it in an email that explains it more or better.
Okay, we'll do that. I wanted Jeremy to talk a little bit about the alleys, but he's not here right now, so I don't know if he's got an update on that or not for us. Some of them alleys that are closed, we don't know how they got closed, but they're closed. And Melissa's not here for Connected Career, so we'll wait for her. So I'm really going to skip down to Stellar. You know, we all know Tim was there, Cam was there, I was there yesterday. Gets frustrating, to say the least. I think I was upset yesterday that we weren't selected. To me, and you guys jump in any time, to me, we did everything the state told us to do from last year. We did everything we're supposed to be doing. We asked what we did wrong, what we need to improve on. They told us. We addressed every issue they had, and we're still not selected. So, I don't know. I've lost my confidence in Stellar myself, and maybe that'll change, I don't know. But I think it's more of a media thing for the state agencies to put out there. I don't know if it's really worth what they do.
I was venting on Matt and Tyler before, but I agree with you. I was disappointed last year. I was upset yesterday. And it comes down to, and I'm already thinking about what I want to tell the team when they come here and don't
I have
run
some
yet.
comments.
But when, always before, if you weren't selected, you got a phone call and that was it. It wasn't a big, but now we've got this big media thing that's out there where, in my fear, my frustration, is that the message, what we're sent back with, was like a stamp of rejection.
Somehow we failed. Right.
And that's not the case at all.
Not at all.
But that's the message that I think, unfortunately, is being communicated to our community because of the process that they use to award it. 2 years in a row, we've got this rejection stamp. Now, the reality is that they have endorsed our plan. They tacitly endorsed it, but verbally they have said, you have a fantastic plan. So what I want them to do is to come to our community and say, your plan is worthy of investment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good plan. It's
Because
worth it.
over and over and over again, they say, you are a stellar community by the fact that you were shortlisted.
So come tell it to our community in some
Exactly.
manner other than giving us a certificate of participation.
Yeah.
Because we now have an issue where as opposed to raising $750,000, we're raising $2.5 million. And we're trying to get that message back to our community that it's not a bad plan. It's a great plan. But that's not the process of being, and seriously, I think that we're taken down there and we're pawns for 2 hours. And then
That's just a big show.
that's it. Now, yeah, I'm upset that we didn't win. I would put our plan up against, I didn't get, but that's not my frustration as much as, how do you pick up the pieces now when...
Well, my frustration goes to a bunch of issues, but the first is the fact that they divided this up into two divisions.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If it was
I think if it would have
five-
been, I think if it would have been all five of us in one category, I think we'd have been the second city.
Absolutely.
That's my personal opinion. I think because they divided it up, they felt they had to choose one of the two in the other division. But I think if you stacked our plan up against the ones, at least based on what we saw yesterday, I have no doubt in my mind we would have been the second city selected. That's one issue. The second is the fact that they dramatically cut back the available funding.
Which-
That was really disappointing when we learned that.
And then we had already committed
Yes.
before we learned that.
Yes.
So you go back in hindsight 2020,
Right.
but
The one thing I will say, and the third issue that I have with them is the fact that there still is no clear explanation of how they make a decision.
Yeah. There's no
That
scoring,
bothers me.
No scoring criteria
To
whatsoever.
me, it is very, very subjective.
yeah, you break it up into two categories because you're saying that there's a greater need in the smaller communities.
Yeah.
So you've established a needs basis. So if you want to use that criteria, put us up against Crawfordsville, who has the bigger need?
Well, and that's the other thing. I think that from a selection perspective, first of all, Marion talks about how much investment they've had in the last few years. Marion has a university or a college in their city. They're close to 69. They've got distinct advantages already over what we have. If you are really interested in trying to get smaller communities, give them the ability to help themselves, to make their community stronger and better, then why are you looking at communities that have those advantages compared to so many others that don't?
Right.
I don't understand that at all.
And if the criteria is based on the amount of community support and funding,
Right.
well,
Yeah.
if they think Crawfordsville already met their match and you guys are only 75% of the way there, well, why?
Yeah, why? Look at who their contributors are. Yeah, exactly. And so that's an issue. Another problem that I had was we stayed in touch and actually had a couple of meetings with Catherine Weisenberg.
Yeah.
Okay?
She was
one of the lead players from the site selection committee, and we listened to her very carefully in what she suggested that we do to improve our plan, and we did those things, and then we find out after the fact that she wasn't even involved in the decision-making process. She had no
no input.
voice in the decision whatsoever.
Why was she here on the,
Because she was
Briefly,
still
yeah,
involved
You
at
didn't
that
know
point.
at that
The
did not
following
know.
week, after the site visit, apparently she was
told that
told that
her job was basically being eliminated.
being eliminated. And because of that, she had no say in who got selected.
Guess who was in charge today for Melissa's training she was having for grant writing? Kathleen Weisenberg. And she even says, well, I won't be here.
So those are the reasons why I was upset.
Well, the reason I'm disappointed is we don't know where we rank. We don't know what our score is, if there is such a thing. We don't know. We don't know their selection process. Does it come down to one person, two people? They won't tell us anything. And I don't think that's right, It's
Especially-
public funds, It should be, public disclosure.
It should be transparency.
And especially when you send us back dejected and
Yeah.
like,
But what are you supposed to do when they announce that Crawfordville's the winner? So we sit there and like, oh, way to go, Crawfordville. Hell no, we sit there dejected and...
Well, here's the thing, though, that I want our community to take away from all of this, is, look, and Bill kind of talked about this a little bit, it's the process. It's the process that you have to go through to be prepared to submit your strategic investment plan. It's the legwork, the planning that goes into that. That we still have, and that gives us the roadmap to where we want to go. We didn't get the funding that we wanted, so let's roll up our sleeves, let's do it ourselves. Let's get the money,
We may be able to get more.
let's get
Grant money,
people to
doing it
understand,
separate than
let's join
this
together,
way.
let's fight for Decatur, let's get moving,
Yeah.
okay? And we will tackle these jobs and we will get them done.
Well,
That's the message. I
So
think
the
we
money's
send.
still out there, we're just going to have to go through the regular process. We're not, Stellar just gives you kind of a automatic front row seat, where now we're going to have to just apply as we need it.
Right.
Which isn't the worst thing, because for NDOT, for example, it takes 3 years. Once you get a project on their list, it takes 3 years before you actually bid it, so really, we don't have to come up with any funds for about 3 years. So in the meantime, maybe we go for streetscapes or something else. We're still going to move forward with what we want to do.
kind of interesting. I talked to a business owner from Wabash today. They just won last year. He said there's already discontent in their community about how they haven't seen anything done. They won last year and they haven't seen any physical transformation. So there's already, and
Well,
that's
that's-
the same case for us, but
We heard that before, I think it was Delphi.
Delphi, 2 years.
Said the same
2
thing.
years. Did you notice on the agenda yesterday, Randy Strasser from Delphi, the mayor of Delphi, was supposed to talk. He didn't talk. It was the mayor of North Vernon, Mr.
Sue
Campbell.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a first name, Sue. Anyhow,
Boy named
but why wasn't Randy there? Something went on there. I'm gonna contact Randy. I know him well enough. I can find out. So yeah, I think we just move forward, and next year at this time, or next year in March or whenever that is, you guys are gonna have to make a decision
Well-
if we're gonna move forward with Stellar again or not.
I feel-
You don't have to make that decision now.
I feel confident that if we do move that direction, our application will be significantly different because we will
We will have already
move forward
started.
on all these other projects,
Exactly.
and we may be looking at the riverfront by that time. I don't know, but I think we do have to question, is the juice worth the squeeze?
Yeah, exactly.
And
So, I'm not saying we will never go for Stellar. I would never say that. but-
Did you get a call about our debrief yet?
No. So I'm assuming it's gonna be tomorrow. It said 18th or 19th.
What we had talked about is just that after we do that we'll have a town hall meeting. We're going to specifically invite all those who have contributed or made, promises, pledges, and discuss how we're moving forward. So saying, based on the funds that are available and what we know we can do, here's the project that we're starting on. And
Yeah.
go from there.
I think it's important for people to see that we're not, we've just thrown up our hands and given up, or that we're not going to do anything. I think we move forward.
A couple things I would say is that
Excuse me, Greg Kitson and Larry Ishwolf just came in. They were both there yesterday. So we're talking about what happened yesterday at the Stellar announcement, how we're going to try to approach things from here. We decided that we're going to go after the available funds, just like we always would before Stellar. And then in the spring, they'll have to decide if we're going to go with Stellar or not. That hasn't been ruled out, but we haven't embraced it either. So, in the meantime, I'd like to talk to Delphi's mayor, see what how they're coming along with theirs, and just sort of thing. They're supposed to call us either today or tomorrow. What they're going to tell us? I forget what
I think that they're just setting up the time for the debrief.
for the debriefing. Yeah. And I think we have a lot of comments at that debriefing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Not about not being selected, but
No.
the process.
The process.
Yeah, exactly.
I encourage all three of you and anybody else that's at that debriefing meeting to please speak your mind.
Yeah.
And secondly, if there's some, I'm upset that we didn't get it, But what I'm really upset about is, and feel bad about, is all the volunteerism we've had in this community, all the hard work and time that all these people have put forward.
Oh, I agree.
And
I agree 100%.
And, how do we thank them, just...
We
I hear you.
I did turn one in this morning to fill it.
And I don't want to disband Greater Decatur.
No,
We have to continue to move forward with that and keep working on the ideas. And if Greater Decatur next first of the year decides, hey, let's try it again, then I want to support Greater Decatur. And I read a little bit of Marion and Crawfordsville's thing, and Crawfordsville, this was their 4th time. Did they get dejected after 2 times? It was Marion's 5th time, and they still haven't won.
And there's a lot of progress in between.
Mm-hmm.
We have to, I think as a smaller community, we're going to have to assess the costs associated with applying.
Exactly.
And see,
The
it
investment.
doesn't cost us anything really to do a letter of, I think we can
Letter
do
of
that.
interest.
With our experience now, we could probably do that in-house.
Right.
But it's just,
Doing the strategic investment plan, especially if it deviates significantly from what we've previously submitted, that is a major undertaking. That is not an easy task.
But on the good note, we have 600,000 available that raised from donors.
Yeah.
Investment in our community.
And I think that's the message that people need to understand, that what you're doing is you're investing in our future. And, we talked about yesterday that one of our greatest resources, and the thing that has really motivated many of us, is our young people and keeping them here as opposed to seeing them go off to a different community. That's a resource that we've not been able to capitalize upon, and that's something that we want to promote.
I couldn't believe reading the cover sheet for Crawfordsville, how similar their plan was to ours as far as the things they wanted to do.
I think it's almost identical. The one, I guess, where I would put ours higher, and this is where I say I'm disappointed we didn't win, I thought ours was authentic. I didn't see a lot of authenticity about there.
Right.
Nothing unique. Similar concepts, but we had a focus that took us, to our heritage and art. So,
Yep.
So do we pick, does Greater Decatur, does the mayor, does somebody pick a project, say we're going to start here, we're going to start and finish this project with that 600,000?
Well, I think, Matt, that first thing we need to do is see when the funds are available. When can we apply? When can we, and I believe the housing part of ours is going to go through anyhow. Kevin Biggs is going to go through the normal process. The Stellar would have moved you up to the top of it, but now he'll go through I forget when he...
November
is when he should find out.
He'll find out November. So he's moving forward with that housing.
Yeah,
So
and I
next year our plan's going to change because we won't have the housing.
I anticipate if that doesn't happen, then he would push forward in February or March, assuming they have the innovation round again. So
He has a couple opportunities in front of him for the housing, so the housing probably will take care of it.
and I think we need to encourage him.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely.
And I think that, maybe at the town, if we do have a town hall meeting and get more input, maybe after that, the Greater Decatur Committee makes a recommendation of which project to move forward on.
And that, the other pieces that we can move forward on that are outside of this it's the Business Accelerator and co-working. I have on my task to do tomorrow to connect with the Nick and Steve Franks and St. Francis, talk about moving forward with that programming, because we don't need a space to do that. We can use anything, because they were all very interested in wanting to proceed. And if we ultimately have space available through Kevin, it would be 2 years anyway for Kevin's spaces available. So, and we should say it also, mention that Melissa put together application, St. Francis had a call for request for proposals to have their META program, the students there that media entrepreneurship trained through the arts, to market something. And we put forward, in working with Kevin, marketing of the artisan creative entrepreneurial housing and business incubator space. So we put that together, And that, that would be their specific focus, and who better to really market than the people who we're trying to attract, right? We're trying to get those graduates that are here.
Right.
So that we'll find out. I don't remember. It was due last Monday, and then the director of Meta came on Wednesday, and Melissa and I showed her around and introduced her to our plan and everything. So hopefully that comes through.
That comes through, and Mark and Kevin's plan
Housing comes through, like I say, he's got a call for November and then another one in March if he doesn't make November, so.
Yeah,
We'll support that, I think. So I think we need to find out when the grant cycles come available, when the funds become available. For maybe the next thing is the streetscapes. We do the streetscape. Melissa's got to find out when that is, when they're going to. Does that come due in November or March or whenever?
and
we'll apply.
And we're still pursuing the wetlands, and that probably is going to get wrapped up before the end of the year if we get awarded the grant from DNR.
You had mentioned yesterday, and you gave more thought to the idea of contacting NDOT and saying,
Yeah, I suggest that we do.
I was there today for training, John sent most of the questions.
Okay.
Jeremy asked some questions about that. About moving the boundaries of the...
to include the bridge.
Yeah.
They are locked in for the racing.
You're talking about...
project.
224 raisins, 224 from the bridge past Belmont High School.
So that question is no.
We can't extend the
We cannot extend.
construction limits.
Correct, because they're too far into the project. Even with environmental and such, that's going to bid about a year from now.
It'll
Actually go out for bid, so.
it'll bid a year from now, 2016, to be done 17.
In 17.
So by the
Seems
end
like
of
it's been-
17.
It's crazy that they're too far down the road, but
Yeah.
just don't come for a year.
Exactly.
That's the way NDOT is, I'm telling you. That's,
What all this stuff.
yeah.
And,
They talk about any call for projects.
have not
Did-
had a
did-
call for projects yet this year.
Right.
We had an in-depth conversation about that this afternoon, or this morning actually. They just don't understand that.
So there's no...
It's not Fort Wayne's decision to do that. That's,
It's central office.
it's Indianapolis that makes that decision. And that's statewide, not just northern Indiana.
I went around, I probably talked to 8 or 10 different ones today throughout this class that we took, and then even when I went upstairs.
8 or so different, who? NDOT officials?
NDOT officials. And then even when I went upstairs and sat down with a few, they just said, they don't understand it.
What was their comment about our non-selection on Stellar?
They're shocked.
They had no input.
Off the record, he says they weren't invited this year, they weren't even involved this year. And
So the
he said,
Fort Wayne district
last
is not
year,
involved.
He said you were the best presentation that there was out there. He said, why? We don't know. They directed or pointed at some things, but there was nothing with us. He said,
Well, they got a different head of NDOT down in Indianapolis now. It used to be Ann Bishop,
Ann
I think,
Bishop.
and now it's Kathy something or other. I can't remember her last
Which
name.
is ironic because Ann Bishop and Kathleen Weisenberger were like this,
Neither one.
and neither one of them are now involved.
Well,
I don't know what's going on.
and like he said, you guys have a long, good standing relationship with him. And so he doesn't understand. David Armstrong was very instrumental in establishing the Stellar program because he just saw this money going different places, little here, little here, little here, little here. So he was part of the creation of the Stellar program. Wasn't even involved. Wasn't asked to be involved this time around. He said it was just a group that was pulled together. So, there you go.
And the disappointing part is, these NDOT people in Fort Wayne didn't even know we were not selected until Jeremy told them. They didn't know it from central office. So
They
I don't know what's going
They
on.
were watching it online. Nothing was online. on their system. They even asked each other this morning, said, no, I don't know what I told Greg. He hung his head out his office door in Overfield, said they didn't get it, and everybody was like, what's going on?
So there's no call for projects, but they'll let us know that, won't they, I mean?
Greg understands what we're doing. Greg and David both, they appreciate what we're doing, and they will be in direct contact.
We can
I
have-
get emails from David as soon as they start breathing any money. That's been that way for 5 years.
You can have more than one project on their list, is that right? Then they decide the funding part, who can be, what project can be funded. So if you have 2 projects, you're in all likely going to get one.
When they do a call for projects, who ultimately makes the decision? Does the regional office or does central?
District.
They do.
The district.
When
So-
we went for East Monroe Street, for example, we went up, and I think there was 4 other communities that day that we were there, and we had to sell our project. We had to tell them, so, here's why this project's important.
But one of the key things with that is you only have so much time. So you have to pretty much plan yourself
Right.
to be able to make the time frame. Just like the Monroe Street project, we knew that we were going to do something. So we agreed on that on system, got the estimates, got the,
Okay.
enough, the minimum done that we can have done for whenever that call came.
Are we in the same position on the bridge now?
No.
Now,
Should we be?
well, and we even went a little further. Remember Ben Schaefer?
He's an NDOT.
He is no longer there. He's been replaced. So I went and sat down with him also and explained the bridge and explained all this stuff. His concern is what's it been, 8 or 10 years ago you guys put the deck on?
2001.
2001, so it's been 14 years. He's concerned with the cycle. That
it's too new?
That is too new.
Yeah.
To do something in the immediate future. He said not to say in another 6, 9, 10 years, that may be a different story. But that's his concern with the bridge itself. Now, I did clarify some things. There's always been this, depends on who you talk to, is what kind of answer you get with like the sidewalks and stuff. NDOT pretty much washed their hands with sidewalks and the lighting and stuff like that. Their meters. You always got the, well, it's the locals, well, it's NDOT's because it's the right of way. They finally clarified that over the last few years. That's something that if we choose to work within the right of way with the sidewalks and the lighting and different stuff, that's going to be ours, obviously. Unless we go through a streetscape grant or whatever. But they vowed that they would, between the 2 or 3 of them, that they would work with us and do whatever needed to be done. They're not really promising any funding, but if there's something that they can tie into, they should definitely get our thoughts around of what we think that we would be looking at or be interested in.
Is that because they like our community? I really think they do. I think they really appreciate what we do.
They do. They're very open with, wanting to help, which I left with a real good feeling about that this morning.
Well, I guess my feeling, and I don't have a say in this, but I'm not going to express my opinion anyway, but it seems to me that we should be prepared so that if they do have a call, we have the ability to show them what we want to do and be in a position where if we have to go up and argue the merits of that compared to other community projects, that we're in a position to do that.
Well, so that means we're going to make a commitment to an engineering firm then to lead us through that process, because we don't know how to design that.
Well, what you have to do is you have to be able to get some estimates. I don't know how much Nate can do with that, but you have to have a specific project, get specific estimates, and that area has to be on system. That street or however has to be on there.
Well, and that's kind of my question, that this is really not our street. This is the state's street that we're trying to do a project on. So how do they handle that? Do they...
Well, how did they do Second and Monroe? Because weren't we talking about doing decorative bricking at that location as well?
That specific area I'm just explaining it to you as a whole.
Mhm.
That area would, obviously it would be on the system because it's their road. I'm talking like, 2nd Street, 1st Street, some of these other ones.
And I'll go back to East Monroe Street that we're just finishing up now. When we first thought of that idea, it was not in the system. And when they say the system, it's got to be a main road. It can't be just a stone road out here that we want to improve. It's got to be on the federal system. And Northeast Indiana Regional Coordinating Company, NERC, they help assist you. So that was not on our system. East Monroe Street was on the system up to Pickaway Road. But past on Pickaway Road, east of Pickaway Road, it was not in the system. So NERC hurry up and got it included in the system. Basically took the road all the way out to 101, I think.
Right.
So, and now it's in the
But the
system.
bridge and Second Monroe are already in the system,
Yes,
aren't they?
yeah. They are main streets.
Right.
2nd Street.
Basically, what the first step that you would want to do is sit down with,
GAI,
No.
Mark, Jesse.
Well, Mark also, but we need to start with the district. Sat down with Greg and David and
Todd Johnson?
the guy that took over from Ben. I got his card.
I don't know if he did that.
He's a younger guy. Sat down and just talked about it.
Right.
It's not Mosier, is it?
No. And they were very open about, you want to have a meeting, let's get together, they can come down here, we can go up there.
Get it
express
scheduled.
the
I think we
concern-
should do that.
Express the concern, plead our case. They're going to give us the guidance up there.
They're in our corner is what you're saying.
They very much are.
I think I'm completely on board with you here that we need to be ready for a call for priors, so we need to know exactly what we need to get in line.
Exactly.
That also means, the aspects I'm thinking of are this public art thing.
Mhm.
That's got to be suitcase before,
Exactly.
and, when we look at our available funding, we need to make sure that whatever we have to have on hand,
We're prepared to
we're,
commit.
we're,
and we
we're
have it.
reserving it, or...
Yeah.
But I think that makes absolute sense, is to sit down and say, okay, what do we need to do to be prepared?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. So I think what the direction you're sounding is, we need to have a meeting with these NDOT district people to give us some guidance on it. We may want to include.
One other thought is if you have an NDOT project that will be tied to this, we really ought to consider that in case they absolutely say, no, you need to wait on a bridge because it's not time to do
Old
it.
enough.
I don't know what all
Another
you
one?
had in mind,
Well, one that comes to my mind would be
Intersection.
5 Points
Or the
intersection. Yeah,
Or
we
5
could-
Points, yeah.
Maybe we could look at that.
You could throw two of them in the hopper. You're only going to get one.
Yeah.
You could throw them both in there and say,
that's a little bit more tricky, but doesn't mean we shouldn't
Yeah.
look at it.
but they're going to give you direct
Let's set up the meeting.
answers for the bridge because there's some question there. It's-
Well, even the safety wall, I'll call it, whatever you want to call that, it's got to meet the federal guidelines for a safety wall. It looks pretty on the drawing that we drew it up as a
Well-
big thing, but I don't think that meets the safety requirements of the federal government.
And I don't know that that's the design that we'd even want,
Yeah.
but
So somebody's got to come up with a design that's acceptable, and we don't know how to do that, so we got to hire a consultant to do it.
And I even kind of threw the curve to Greg is just to kind of get a thought from him. Why don't we just turn this around back towards Jackson Street and bring it up just to see what his response would be? He said, oh, no. He says, he goes, there are options. So
Okay, so he's got an idea for us.
He wasn't saying no. I just wanted to ask him about turning it and setting it back the other way to get
Okay.
his response.
Okay, 2 questions that I have, Jeremy. I mean, it's a pain with all the debris that catches around the pier that's in the channel. Is there any possibility that they would consider redoing the thing and getting that out of there? Since they're raising the road anyway,
Possibly, but they kept going back to the fact that,
That we redid the deck.
Your 25, 30-year life cycle on what?
Well,
Schultz did
the
yourself.
superstructure, otherwise the floor of the bridge is the only thing that was done in 2001. None of the piers and stuff into the river were addressed.
and that's what I'm saying is...
Well, that was built, that portion was built in the early 70s, because I remember coming back from the Army and it was being done.
And that's why you need to really be at that meeting, because I couldn't answer exactly.
Yeah.
But that's my point.
Or
you killed two birds with one stone. I mean, you eliminate, if you can get that pier out of the channel, you eliminate the debris collecting there, and it then gives justification for redoing the bridge.
Guess where it goes?
I know, it goes further down
Goes
to Jackson,
Street.
But we control that.
but we
We
control
can control
that.
that, that's right.
We don't rely upon...
County.
Yeah.
And that's beyond our
And
designated
it's,
recreation area.
exactly, it gets beyond our trailhead.
Yeah.
So, it sounds like we need to meet with NDOT as soon as possible. Let's try to arrange that. We'll do the district people and get some guidance from them. And we'll report back here.
It was very positive.
Okay.
Well, the other thing that I would like is, you know, the people down at Stellar, Lieutenant Governor in particular, repeatedly commented that we're here for you. Just because you weren't designated Stellar Community, we want to support you in you getting these projects implemented. So if we enlist the support of the Lieutenant Governor, perhaps that will
I think that's...
free up some money.
That's right. That's
So
right.
I think we should take her up at her word.
Absolutely.
You know, if she wants to help us, then here's how you can.
You know, I thought a lot about this over the last couple of months, and actually, I thought we should go out more hours to piles, but great little program.
Yeah.
All right, let's meet with NDOT. Do you think we should, do you think we should include an engineering firm to meet with us? Right now,
Not
GI,
right now, let's talk with,
NDOT on our own.
Maumee River Basin, Department of Corps of Engineers.
get some,
'Cause
a little bit more guidance out of Greg.
I don't know if GI is the firm we want to use, to be honest with you. I'm not sure.
GAI, is that Mark?
That's Mark Jesse.
Okay, we'll do that. Melissa, wait, Jeremy, excuse me, while you're still here, have you had any involvement with the alley issue? Closed, the alleys that were closed?
Yeah, I talked with AEP the very next morning. And then also I spoke with them again today, just to basically kind of get a letter or something, you know, their side of it. They are 100% in support of it.
Of what? Opening them back up?
Open things back up due to access issues. They
Alright.
went to their higher ups. I should have something within a day or so.
Okay.
Okay.
Jeremy, the Green Book, I looked through the new book here. The Green Book has all our ordinance changes on alleys. It lists them out. Here, they've got zoning changes and special ordinances, but the Green Book, and I don't have the Green Book with me, but it shows
Right.
just exactly what alleys have passed by ordinance.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Which ones is vacated?
Yeah,
Right.
but here, it's all in,
locked up.
yeah, it's all in the one
If there's not an
conglomerate.
ordinance that vacated the alley, then technically it's an alley that should be open.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I was telling
Let's
Jeremy.
do that. I appreciate, once you get that letter from them,
have a list of them and a letter by the
next meeting. Okay, we'll talk about it the next meeting then.
I got a phone call from somebody from AEP about easements for some transmission lines, and I called him back and I haven't heard back from him, so I don't know if he got a hold of you or Nate, but they're looking to get easements. I don't know. He didn't say, he called and left a message, I called back.
They need some more work.
All right.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Melissa, you made it back from Indy today. You was down there for training, is that right? Good.
Does anybody need a kiki on the schedule? Does anybody,
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very kindly.
anybody else?
Yes,
Does
thank you.
anyone?
We got a stacked store.
I think we have some here, but I'll
You?
take one.
You good? I got one. No, thank you.
Sure. Kids Day, car show.
Saturday, 9 o'clock. Nope, not on there.
Also, the Penzi Depot is selling 2015 calendars as a fundraiser for the depot. They are $18 if anybody you guys would like to see one. We have them available here at City Hall.
Oh,
I like this one. I'm getting it. Looks like a Purdue Boilermaker right doing it.
I have two things this evening. The new bike rack that's on Madison Street around the corner from Fifth Third Bank. Winning with Wellness would like to paint a picture of a bicycle on the sidewalk just as we're getting started so people know that it is a bicycle rack. I've talked to Jeremy and he has the correct paint so that it's not permanent, but it's going to be there for a little bit.
Semi-permanent.
So, Winning with Wellness would like permission for this.
I think it's a good idea, because people look at it and think it's neat, but they
Don't know what it
they're
is.
not sure it's a bike
They are
rack.
working on education in other ways, some press releases and some postcards. and
Chief
some-
Police has it coming.
I don't mean to interrupt, but again, because you're going to put a bicycle rack up there, are we encouraging people to ride downtown, particularly on our sidewalks, that we have an ordinance against?
Argument against riding bikes.
So we need to address the
I'm buying it.
ordinance of bicycle riding.
Yeah.
I believe it'll come up in conversation.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever been enforced, Greg, but there is an ordinance against bikes on the
What's
sidewalk.
the purpose behind that? Do we know?
Pedestrian safety.
Yep.
Huh. Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, that's your call. There's my purchase.
Here's mine.
No, you don't. Just keep it. No, you don't.
Don't give me his two, I get 4. No, I'm
You
teasing.
got a calendar to make money. Thank you, guys.
I'm guilty. I ride on the sidewalk all the time. I've got kids on a bike.
And that's the thing is me, I mean, if you're gonna bring people, like, say you bring people downtown, and you're gonna tell people they can't ride on the sidewalks, well then why would they bring their bike downtown? I mean, I wouldn't want my kid riding down 2nd Street.
That's actually between First and Third and Jefferson,
Mm-hmm.
It's only a certain area.
Jackson.
Yeah.
The downtown area is what he's saying.
Right, where,
Yeah.
And that's where you want him to come.
So,
And that also includes skateboards.
Yep.
What do we
You guys
call
need
those
to think
new
about.
skateboards?
downtown sidewalks.
They go,
yeah, they wiggle and I don't know what they're called.
wiggle board?
I believe the entire ordinance started because of the downtown merchants were afraid of people coming in and out of stores and
Getting hit.
With the short amount of space between those and the street that somebody get hit.
Yeah, I'm sure that's it.
I think
Yeah.
that's what was suggested.
Probably came back when there was lots of foot traffic on 2nd Street shops, so there's not today.
I hope we get to that point someday, but right now we're not there.
Yeah, that's something you guys need to talk about
Yeah.
besides.
Steve Carl talked for years, though, about bike lanes
Lane.
and the necessity for that.
There's not enough
Never
room out
mind.
there for bike
So
lanes.
does Bill Barney, he's always
Yeah.
about,
Bob Shaluka. I mean, anybody that rides bikes talks about it.
so yeah, that's, I guess, for future discussion, what you want to do on that.
We could designate bike lanes on First and Third. That wouldn't be, I mean, we're kind of doing that already. If we're doing the trail up First and you take a one-way street on Third, you could put a bike lane there.
We could do that.
Avoid that issue. Anyway, something we need to look at.
Well, that's all, we're going to turn it back over to you now.
She's asking.
I'm asking on
Yeah.
behalf of Winning with Wellness so I can report back to them that there's some discussion about bicycles downtown and to please hold off on the painting on the sidewalk. What would you guys like me to report?
But, I mean, the bike rack doesn't go against our ordinance. I
That's
mean,
right, exactly. People can ride downtown and still have a place to park their bikes.
Well, not legally, that's what Greg's saying.
Well, you don't,
You just don't enforce
I
it.
didn't mean to...
They're not riding them.
They're not riding on the sidewalk, they're parking on the
They're
sidewalk.
just parking
We're
in.
encouraging bicycles and there's an
Correct.
ordinance against it.
And my thoughts are,
Get rid of the ordinance.
well, or at least get with the downtown association and see if they can be involved with, is there any compromise or something
Yep.
that would change the council mind, you know, about...
Shall we go to Main Street, Melissa, and ask?
Larry has his hand
Yeah. Because we have conflicting things. We want bike rack downtown, and we're not allowing bikes downtown.
And we can't park them on the sidewalk.
I like bikes downtown.
What's this?
It's not a problem for me.
No,
I
no.
understand the merchant's point of view.
But the fact of the matter is we authorized the bike rack to be placed down there, so...
We're encouraging bikes to be downtown.
Said providing that no person shall park a bicycle on the sidewalks along Second Street from Jackson to Jefferson.
It's not on
Second
Second.
Street.
It's on
It's on
Madison.
Madison.
Out on sidewalks along Monroe Street, First and Third Street. I'm saying about Madison.
That's why we put it there.
Somebody was pretty wise back in those days not to include Madison.
Should we, I do the temporary bike thing next to the bike rack they just put up?
No, I think it makes
It's not
sense.
hurting
My
anything.
question is, could you paint it on the wall, the brick wall? Would the,
We would have to check with the property
Well, I know.
owner
that might be kind of an interesting conversation.
that it could be almost a piece of art next to.
In the street, in front of that bike rack, is there a parking place for a car there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, there's parking along that,
So right in front of the bike rack, you can park a car.
yes.
Should we change that?
No.
No? We need the parking, huh? Huh?
Is there any
Okay.
problem with painting the
Painting the
sidewalk?
yellow line on the
I have no
back of that
problem
sidewalk.
with painting whatever you want on that sidewalk.
Whatever we want.
In essence, all this says, Melissa, is that you don't put a bicycle rack up and park bicycles on the sidewalk where you're obstructing pedestrian traffic.
And it was placed around that corner kind of for that reason.
Right,
It's
yeah.
midway downtown, and it's out of the way of most pedestrian traffic.
But it does designate certain streets that you can't park, put a bike rack up, so.
Right.
Just let me know how you want to change the ordinance or get rid of it.
Yeah.
Larry?
May have to take them out.
In the meantime, we'll have to discuss Main Street.
It's a good main street
Yeah.
discussion.
Our downtown merchants discussion.
Right.
To see if this ordinance is the wish of the merchants or if there can be some alterations made. Now, you know now. So,
Okay. And you got a meeting tomorrow with Winning with Wellness anyhow, right?
yes.
Good.
Thank you for bringing that to our
So
attention,
yes
Chief.
to the painting of the sidewalk or no to the painting of the sidewalk?
Yes.
Yes.
If it's a Board of Works decision,
Oh.
yes.
That's the Board of Works decision,
Is it?
yes.
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 Sidewalk, wall, whatever you can get
Thank you.
to show where the rack's at, or what it's for.
My last item is Okra, which is the organization that has the Stellar program. They have a brand new program that they shared with us last week. It's called the Workforce Development Program. And what it is it will allow $5,000 per beneficiary for job training. And Connect to Careers is interested in partnering with the city of Decatur and applying for this program.
There's a limit of how
Stellar,
much?
It's a cap of $250,000. Not that you have to request that much, but that is the cap. And the city would have to be the applicant, so I'm here on behalf of Connect to Careers to see if the city would like to partner with them on submitting this application.
Explain when you say training, if you can expound on that a little bit there.
A big employer could use it for training.
It's for programming. So all of you are familiar with the premise of Connect to Careers. We know that there's a lot of companies out there that might have 2 or 3 people that need some training. Connect to Careers would gather all those people up, let's say it was for welding, and provide a welding class. The state's main focus is on providing programming to unemployed and underemployed adults. So this funding would go directly towards training for adults.
So,
Connect
let's
to
use the
Careers.
welding as an example then. Let's say we have 6 employers out here that have 2 each, so we have 12 people. So, we want to get a class for welding, and this money,
Connect to Careers can organize a class pay for a trainer, pay for a location, pay for rental of any welding equipment that would need to be used to train these people, whether it be one class or a series of 5 classes to complete their welding certification in this example.
And typically that's done through Ivy Tech Corporate College. And Ivy Tech Corporate College is basically $2,500 per student. And typically when they partner, they get grant money through Work One to pay for half of it, and then the employer has to pick up the other half, right? So this would be an opportunity. It's up to $5,000 per student. You wouldn't have to use all in on one student, right? But if the employer couldn't fund that, or there wasn't, maybe the particular program they're interested in did not have, it didn't lead to a certificate, so there wasn't money through Work One, you'd have the ability to use this as a, call it scholarship, whatever, for that student to get through that training. This program, you're allowed to use the money for a lot of different things, but I think our mindset is not for staffing, not for materials, not for any of that stuff, because that's pretty much taken care of. It's straight for the providing of services to the students, the beneficiaries of the courses themselves.
Is there a reason why we would not want to partner with Connect Careers on this?
The one thing, the only, I guess, gotcha, not really, but in Connect Careers, it's a county-wide organization. So there is a match, well...
What's the match for the grant?
There's a 20% match. 15% of that 20% can be used. Connected Careers is at Region 8, and there's a partnership there that they're providing some of those services. Salary can be used as match. We have computers that can be used as match. So we're not asking...
There's no financial...
Anything that can count as a match, Connected Careers already has in place.
So there's no money from the
Based
state.
on a financial commitment that the municipalities have made already, that would qualify.
Oh, I see. Yeah, we've committed $6,200, I believe,
Connected Careers isn't asking anybody for a financial commitment beyond what the municipalities have already made.
Are the other
That's not gonna
communities
cost
in the
them.
county going to be asked to partner also, or is it just Decatur?
The city of Decatur will be the applicant because that's how it
Okay.
sets up the program. We anticipate Connected Careers acting on your behalf and following through and implementing the program.
Okay.
And she will be a certified grant administrator by the time that is due.
So the fees that would be written in to pay your grant administrator, we can use that money more to go towards the program.
Right.
I think it's a great idea.
Great,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I do say Okra did come down and explain it to us,
And Craig was there.
yeah, that's right.
So they have a proposal due August 28th. Full applications are due October 23rd, and we should be notified sometime in November.
So this is similar to the Stellar process. We had a letter of interest, and then we were finalized, and
It's the
that's what
same.
you're saying.
Very much the same process.
Okay.
Hopefully it goes better.
I think it's an opportunity that we need to take advantage of, really. Is this a council decision, or
Are we-
we're not?
There's no money.
There's no money involved.
So we will be applying with the city as the lead applicant.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm here today.
I guess to answer your question, Kim, was it the other communities? We're the applicants, so we're really the only community involved, but
But
if
Connected
we reach
Careers
out
does
to
service all of that.
Strict, for
Yeah.
example, in Monroe, and that's going to benefit us
Yeah, you
too.
request.
Maybe not directly, but indirectly it will.
Request the assistance from other communities, involvement.
Yeah.
Craig had some, not mean to put you on the spot, Craig, but you had some questions when we met with the Okra lady, and she seemed to answer them.
51% had to be a certain qualified individual.
51% have to be at low to moderate income. So when these folks come in, kind of as an intake document, we'll take some of their information, and there'll also be a form they have to fill out about their income. We don't anticipate a problem basically because the nature of the program is to target folks who are looking to improve their employment situation. But we do have to take that information, and then it will be audited and monitored throughout the cycle of the grant.
And the recipients can only be from the state of Indiana.
Yeah.
So if we had, go ahead, Craig, sorry.
Because Decatur's is the county seat of Adams County, we thought this would be a great lead program for Gator to take.
Good, thank you. So, anybody have any questions?
Sounds great.
So yes?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we have Melissa proceed with this grant process.
I'll second it.
Motion's carried.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
Questions for me?
Any comments on Stellar yesterday? We already
You
talked about
missed
this
out,
when
you
you got
missed out
here.
on our comments.
Today is a new day.
That's said pretty well.
Good approach.
Thank
We
you.
didn't, we said more than that.
Yeah, I said a lot more than that. Short and sweet, huh?
Melissa, hey, one question. You were at training today in Indy for a grant?
Yes, to
For
continue my
grant education?
certification, I have to go through so many continuing education hours, and I've kind of put that off since we've been going through Stellar, so now I've got about 6 or 7 classes before the end of the year to complete and to maintain my certification.
Who was the instructor today?
Kathleen Weisenberger was my instructor today, and she was very frank about what she thinks of Okra right now.
Yeah. Kathleen Weisenberg, for everybody's information, was kind of the lead person for Okra last year through our Stellar application and process. And this year she had no say-so or no involvement whatsoever in the selection. So I'm not sure what's going on with Okra. But we'll get our date and tell them how we feel coming up sometime. Yeah. I don't have anything else. Anybody want to bring something else up? More than welcome to. Encourage everybody to go to Kikianga Festival this weekend. They got the cars starting off the car show. They got Education Day on Thursday.
I do have a question. I had a conversation with Brian Howenstein today, True Value. He was just asking if there's been any more conversation with AEP about them selling the rest of the property to Greg Fleming.
Not that I know of. That's a good question. We've let that slide here for over a year now.
And I guess that's the, because he was, and I know that Greg, there's been people who have been interested. Thank you. You know, I think if Greg had the opportunity to buy the remaining portion in the parking lot, he would do it. But he's obviously so busy doing other things. But Brian needs to do a renovation. And he's looking at doing a significant, you know, improvements to his building.
How do you like my book?
But
He doesn't want to do it if that's not going to materialize.
so do we? I mean, who do we call? Who do we talk to?
I think I could talk to Greg. Greg would.
Well,
who would
I
AEP?
think he might. I think we maybe need to go on his behalf to. And I'm happy to make that call, but I just don't know who I would start.
I have that phone number somewhere.
Kim Sobrowski is the rep, would she know?
Yeah, she would connect us to the right guy.
Let me reach out to her then.
You got her, I'll get you her contact.
Mayor, what do we do tonight with the city hall?
Well, we're just basically going to have a public hearing so the public can make their comments.
Then council decide if you're ready to decide what you want
Your
to do.
Saturday meeting there, was that with the whole Porter family?
No, it was just Ted and his...
Did he indicate any interest in what he wanted?
Yeah, he called me today again, and I said that we would not make a decision. We may decide what process we use, but we won't make a decision tonight.
So he is interested? Good.
I took him through it, and then I left him and said, hey, you guys don't need me here. Yeah, all you gotta do is lock the back door when you leave. Later in the day, I came by to make sure it was locked, so. I don't know how much time they did.
Isn't it wonderful to see 2nd and Jackson Street shaping up?
Oh. Oh.
Very pleasing.
So excited about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's neat.
He
And I
would
can
like to
actually
get
look up
he
that,
told me he'd like to get the roof in this year, so then they can work on the interior this
Wants
month.
to get the porch.
That's what he wants to do.
Porch,
But actually, look up the alley, their driveway, and see.
they've hauled 5 container loads of stuff out, plus I don't know how many dump truck loads.
She had pictures on Facebook of the attic, chock full.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be neat. He said there's only over, I talked to him today, there's over 10,000 square foot.
John says, do this at the next meeting.
10,000
I didn't get it
square.
on the agenda.
When you figure the basement and all the floors and the
Figure the
porch,
basement.
and the porch and the town, or what do you call it? the
Come on in, Paul.
That's what I understand.
Carriage
Come
house?
on in.
John told me that.
We'll get going here in a little
You want a motion, John, to adjourn?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bill.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion's carried.